All right, hello, hello. So I promised you a practice that can help you disconnect from the places in which you've had a weird, experience or sense or um, some perceptions and things that you've taken on that aren't yours around worth and value. So this is a practice that I've been using for a long time. It's a practice that I use with a lot of my clients, and it's deceptively simple because it's super, super potent. So, as I mentioned, a lot of us wound up taking on perceptions, ideas, beliefs that weren't really ours. And many times they came from people who were very wounded as far as their own sense of um, worth and value. And sometimes it's, generational, that they're carrying something from their mother, their mother's mother, their mother's mother's mother. Um, and so getting disentangled from all of this stuff can be tricky. So we want to do something that is both, okay, we want to do something that is going to work with this on the various different levels that it shows up. So on the physical level, on the emotional level, on the spiritual level. And what I'm about to teach you is something that works both on the physical level and the emotional level. So when you do the process in this way, it literally begins to, in your neural nets, begin to separate you from this belief. Because of the way that we're going to do it with working with different sides of the body, it literally begins to rewire your neural nets so that you're not going back to the same belief and thought pattern the way that you would have been before. So what do? Start with one person at a time. More than likely, there are many people that you can do this with. But you're going to think of who the person is. I would say don't overthink it. Like, who is the person that has given, that had a lot of unhelpful ideas around what my worth or what my value was actually about. Don't overthink it. The first person that comes to mind is usually the most potent place to start. So you'll think of that person, and then you're going to find an object that you feel like represents that person. Again, please don't overthink it. That's where our brain and our sense of ego and our sense of like a false self and fear start to plan. Well, I have to make this perfect and blah, blah, blah. It'll create a situation for you that is very unhelpful. So literally just, when I do this work with clients, I don't tell them that we're going to do this. I ask them to take 60 seconds to find an object, and I would recommend that you do the same thing. So let's say for me, it was my seventh grade English teacher. She was her sense of worth came very much from physical appearance. And seated throughout the entire year with her, there were comments and comments about herself and her appearance, comments about students and their appearance, grades that got reflected literally in who looked good and fashionable and pretty in the class. And so let's say that with her, I had taken on some belief about physical expression and worth. So I'm going to look around really quick, and I'm going to find an object that I feel like represents her. Okay, so I've got it. There's this, red velvety bag. And I'm like, okay, so this really feels like her essence, something that would really represent her. So I'm going to take this red bag, or it could be a photograph, a statue, a ball of tinfoil, like, I don't know, whatever shows up for you. You're going to put it in a place that, again, following your intuition, where naturally in the room you feel like this being would sit. So I'm going to set this, as she was teaching, she would have been kind of up higher. So I'm setting this in a place right now where she would be up a little bit higher than I am. And what you're going to do is pick a hand that represents yourself. Pick a hand that represents the other person. Make sure that you're not using the same hand for both things. So for me, I'm going to have this hand right here represent my interaction with this teacher. I'm going to have this hand represent my interaction with myself. So what I'm going to do is take this hand, I'm going to point to, and I'm not doing this as a real practice in this moment, so I'm just making up names, but Sally Sue. So that, and I'm pointing to the object in the place that I've set it, that is Mrs. Sally Sue, and this is me now with the other hand, and I'm dropping the hand that would represent Mrs. Sally Sue by my side, putting my hand here. I usually recommend somewhere in the heart chakra, near the heart. If you feel inspired to place your hand someplace else, if it feels like it wants to go on your belly, on your head, any place else, follow your intuition. I usually put mine here. So that is Miss Sally Sue. This is me now. That is Mrs. Sally Sue. Those are her wounds. Those are her beliefs. And this is me now. This is my life. This is my sovereignty. These are my beliefs. That's Mrs. Sally Sue. That was her pain. That was her perception. That was what she needed to function. And this is me now. This is my life. This is my sovereignty. These are my beliefs. This is what I know to be true. Let that land in your body. See at this point what you feel like you want to give back to that person. You may want to say just exactly the same things I said, but most people have, once they're in this process, they definitely have things of their own that they want to return to that person to give back to them. So do this until you feel complete. You might be doing this for 20 minutes. You might be doing it for 3 minutes. It's been different for every single person that I've worked with, but there comes a point where you feel like you're complete. The thing about this is that you can return to it as often as you need to. Your emotions, your body and its ability to process and its capacity in whatever moment may only be able to handle a couple of minutes of this, and you might find that you want to come back to it. So you might want to do, 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 rounds with a particular person. You also may be complete after one round with one person and want to move on to the next person. Again, it's deceptively simple. It's deeply, powerfully moving work. So with that in mind, listen to your body, listen to your bones as to what pacing this needs to go in. You might be able to do 10 people, bam, 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 one right after the other. You might need to do one person and take a week before you do somebody else. There's not a wrong way or a right way. The only wrong way is if you're trying to do it by somebody else's subscribed way. Listen to you. Listen to your inner wisdom. Listen to your bones. Listen to your inner knowing. Follow that. Do it with some pacing that makes sense for you. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, of course, please don't hesitate to reach out by email. I'm more than happy to, pop on real quick and see what I can do to support you. Much love to you. Thank you for being willing to step into a deeper sense of the true worth of who you